What up, what up? It's ASTOG, back with another topic, back with another video. So the title of this video is gonna be, working hard is a scam. So admin notes, thanks again to all the subscribers that subscribe to my channel. I endeavor to keep pushing the videos out to give you leverage to better yourselves. Also, if you want me to review your YouTube channel, email me at astog757@gmail.com. My email address is in the description below. So let's get into it. One of my neighbors. So let's get into it. So yeah, working hard is a scam. So I know a lot of folks in the past and in the present here are really upset, where I guess they were upset at remote workers. I think a lot of folks really had this mentality where they felt like remote workers or workers that even did hybrid, meaning that they went to work, a couple of days out of the week and then they work from home, thought that these folks were, I guess, lazy, didn't really do anything, like their work was just not hard work, and they were goofing off and, taking vacation while they're supposed to be working. Like, a lot of folks really was upset at folks that were remote workers, because they felt like, I guess, if I'm working hard on my job, whether it be construction or, some type of other physical labor job, that, it's unfair that you can sit home and work while I'm out in the heat or the cold or the rain doing work, right? And the thing is that, like, for the most part, especially in this day and time where there's no pension and retirement plans are not the way they were, like, even 50 years ago. For the most part, most physical labor jobs are not going to build you any wealth unless you're investing your money some kind of way, which a lot of folks don't do, right? In other words, you cannot work hard to success. You cannot work hard to make a lot of money. You just can't. Now, I'm not saying that the folks that are remote workers or folks that work from home or just work, without being in the office, I'm not saying they don't work hard. I'm just saying, this narrative, I think, has been pushed out there for a couple of years now, where, like, if you're not busting your ass at work, that you're not, I guess you're not contributing to society. It's a farce. It's a scam. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things, like, you have to go back to how school is structured. School is structured for us to be workers when we become adults, right? You have a time frame. You have to be in school. You have to be quiet. You can't say anything. You can't go against the teacher, right? There's certain grade levels you have to go to, meaning that there's certain promotion levels you go through in the job field that you're in, right? So, from age 4 or 5, we're conditioned to be workers, hard workers, right? And a lot of folks with the internet has cracked the code when it comes to making a lot of money, but not busting their behind and not breaking their back to make money. And if you're in a space where, like, you really feel like you can't make a lot of money unless you actually, like, really put yourself through a lot of rigor, then you're doing yourself a disservice, man. You really are. Like, let's say, well, I give myself an example, right? So, being in the IT field. Now, mind you, I was a soldier. I was in the Army for 20 years, right? So, yeah, I did do a lot of physical hard labor work. Even though my job was in the IT field, I was still a soldier. So I still did a lot of training. Still fought the 2 times I was at war. So, it was, yeah, it was rough. There's nothing lazy about me. You know what I'm saying? I did a lot when I was over there. But in the garrison environment, meaning when I was at a normal duty station, I wasn't, like, at war or doing that type of training. Yes, I was in a air-conditioned office. Actually, it was a freezing cold office, because depending on where I was working at, I was around servers. So servers, like, when you go in a server room or a data center, I'm pretty sure a lot of IT folks will understand this. Like, when I tell you that area of where the servers are at is, like, freezing cold, it's like it's a cold that you can't even bear, man. Like, it's cold, man. It's freezing cold in those joints. You know what I'm saying? But but a lot of that equipment, it overheats, so they have to keep it cold like that. But in any case, for the most part, I was in an air-conditioned building, sitting down. I wouldn't say stationary work. I mean, I did sit for for a good little while on days, depending on, like, what kind of work I had to do that particular day. but for the most part, yes, I was at an office, right? And I wasn't in some type of Australian environment, or I wasn't, getting sweaty or, injuring myself or anything like that. Like it was a pretty comfortable environment. It really was when I was in a garrison environment, right, doing my job. But once I retired and I did the same thing as a civilian, right? That means I still didn't have to bust my behind to make a lot of money, right? All my efforts came from here, from my brain, not physical. Because, one thing I would tell you is like being in the IT field, depending on what kind of IT you're doing, well, for most part, all IT, but I would say like the IT I've been doing for the last 7 years, right? When I tell you like every other day is like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle, it's constant troubleshooting. You run into situations where you don't, it's not you don't understand what's going on, but you have a foundation when it comes to doing IT work, but there's still always something that happens with a computer or with technology that's foreign, but you use your basic knowledge to figure it out. But it's like piecing the jigsaw puzzle together, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of mental work, right? It's a lot of troubleshooting, and it's a lot of thinking outside the box. That's the most effort that I do for the most part, other than moving equipment when it comes to physical labor work. And, the job I had before, in the IT field, I made a lot of money versus I work a job that's physical, right? And I'm not saying that some physical jobs don't make a lot of money, but in the IT field, me not doing physical work, I could scale my worth as much as I wanted to, right? Every single job that I had over the last 7 years, and I've been at 5 jobs, I've increased my salary every single time. If I was to work a physical labor job where I'm literally like, jumping out of a truck all the time and delivering stuff, or just doing a whole bunch of labor that's like just really gonna break my body down, it's highly unlikely I'm gonna be able to make a lot of money doing that. And it's highly unlikely for anybody that's doing that work to make a lot of money, right? Even if you stay there for a long time. So, like I said, like when folks have this mentality that like you really, really, really have to like hunker down and like do a lot of physical labor work to make a lot of money, and you're not contributing to a society, or you're not doing a lot of things with that job that's worthy of you having that job. You're not doing physical labor. It's crazy. It's a farce, man. It's a lie. You do not have to bust your behind to make a lot of money. You don't. You know what I'm saying? For one thing, a lot of folks put themselves in situations where they have to because they didn't get education. They goofed off in school when they were in school, right? They may have got incarcerated, whether it was their fault or they got blamed, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever it can be. A lot of folks will put, I guess, blame on something else when it's really their fault that they're working a hard labor job because they didn't put the work in earlier in life. So don't get mad at the remote workers. Don't get mad at folks that are doing hybrid work, because at the end of the day, while you're doing physical labor work, almost making pennies to a certain degree, and no disrespect to you guys, but you're doing that while not even folks in IT, folks that are doctors or whatever the case may be, they make a lot of money, but they use this instead of brawn to make that money. So don't put yourself in a situation to where you really feel like you have to do a whole bunch of hard labor work to make a lot of money, because you don't. Use your mind, man. Use your brain. You know what I'm saying? The internet is a playground of a whole lot of things you can use to make money. You know what I'm saying? So use it. You don't got to use your brawn to make a lot of money, man. You just don't. All right? So you want me to discuss this topic, go sub the beneficiary channel. Email me at asog757@gmail.com. Email address is below. Say so G, signing out. I'm gone.